The Knox Central Panthers.
On cue. Thank you guys so much for joining again. I've got a little unique interview today. Introduce yourself, man. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Cody Sloan. I'm from Inez, Kentucky, and I'm an official from the 15th region.
So, man, I just got to start off with this, okay? Some of our viewers and Neil and another host says that me and you kind of look alike with the little, the hairstyle. What do you say about that, man?
Well, I don't think you're quite this good looking, but I mean, I can definitely see a resemblance.
Oh, listen, man. How does it feel to ref in this environment, this great environment? Obviously, COVID hasn't made it as loud and as packed as it would be in normal years, but how does it feel, this environment reffing?
This is my second regional tournament, and I mean, this is definitely a more unique environment. Last year, I was in the 14th region, and they do it in a high school gymnasium. Being in an arena, the crowd's kind of further away from you. You can't really hear everything that's going on as much as far as the crowd, getting involved and kind of disagreeing with calls and things like that. But this is definitely, a wonderful arena and a great place to host a tournament. And I've definitely enjoyed it so far. But it's definitely, a wonderful, wonderful arena.
I think one of the most controversial calls in officiating is the block charge call. How do you determine whether it's a block or a charge? Obviously, lower the shoulder. But if you're a defender, what are you supposed to do to just draw the perfect charge?
Well, it's kind of a new way of thinking. The rule has always been the same. The defender that takes a charge has to be in legal guarding position. And once they have established legal guarding position, which is kind of 2 feet in front of the offensive player, they can be moving, east and west and south, away from the defender, as long as they're not initiating the contact. So that's the first thing you're looking for as an official in determining a block and charge. I'm really reffing the defense. I'm not reffing the offense. I'm looking at the defender, and do they have legal guarding position? Does the defensive player initiate the contact? Okay, that's what I'm really looking at. I want to get who initiates the contact. The defender, like I said, they can be moving side to side or even backwards and take a charge. You hear a lot of people, it's kind of a misconception that you have to be set to take a charge, and you really don't. I mean, a lot of people really think that, but you don't. You have to have legal guarding position. You can jump to take a charge as well, as long as you jump vertically and not into the offensive player. That's really what you want to determine as an official is, does the defensive player have legal guarding position, and does the defensive player initiate the contact, or does the offensive player initiate the contact? And that's kind of what I go by, the veteran officials that have helped me out in our region, in the 15th region. They tell us, referee the defense. Okay, if the defense initiates the contact, then it's a foul on the defense. If the offense initiates the contact, it's a foul on the offense. And, definitely if it's a push-off, with the off arm or anything like that, that's definitely going against the offense.
Yeah. Here's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know. What is your opinion on adding a shot clock to high school basketball?
Well, I don't know if you guys really cover much of the 15th region, but that was definitely a hot topic debate in the first round of the boys tournament against Johnson Central and Eastridge. It was a triple overtime win by Johnson Central, and the last overtime, Johnson Central held the ball the entire fourth quarter. They didn't, the entire third overtime, I'm sorry. Eastridge didn't even have a chance to possess the ball. I kind of feel like from an official's perspective, it would just add another integral to the game as far as game management, and that's just another thing you have to worry about. But as a fan, I'd like to see it implemented, but I can see both ends really, the perspective on it. And, it's really just up to the state whether they want to go that route or not. And as an official, we'll go with whatever they pass down. But I can see both sides of it. And, if I'm a coach and I'm up, I want to run the clock. If I'm a coach and I'm down, I want to get my defense up to pressure the ball and force the action because, the offensive guys, if you pressure them, they can only hold the ball for a certain amount of time closely guarded. So it's I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I mean, I can see it go either way.
You're a young guy, man. You know how basketball is it's evolved over the years. The three-point shots are becoming more popular. As an official, How has the rules changed in your time of refereeing?
Well, they definitely, the rules definitely evolve with the game as well. As an official, we really emphasize the block charge this year, like we were talking about. And the state commissioner, Julian Tackett, he sends out his rules clinic every year, and they really did a good job this year of going over the situations and providing video evidence of the block charge and the legal guarding position and the verticality rule. And I think that's why you're seeing a lot more charges this year, and kind of the fans and the coaches, they've watched the rules clinic, so they're kind of knowing what's going on, but the fans really don't. But I think that's why you see a lot more charges are being called this year because of that. We're kind of going more, the offense can't just run down in there out of control and bowl over everybody. That's going to be called a charge. So that's one of the major things that I've seen different this year is that block charge. I think you're getting a lot more charges, and I think it's a good thing, really. So,
man, listen, when it comes to officiating, you guys have to have quite often meetings, because there's new rules being added, I'm sure, each year or each couple of years. There's different things you got to look at. How often does officials meet with whoever's ahead of you guys to figure, okay, we've got to call the game a little differently or we're taking a different route? How often do you sit down and have meetings about these type of things?
As officials, we normally have, in the 15th region, we normally have meetings before the season, during the season, and before postseason. It kind of varies. I mean, if there's a lot of complaints going on, or if there's a lot of problems that's going on, or if there's rule misinterpretations that happen during the game, we'll have conferences. Maybe the assigner will call you individually. Maybe we'll call a meeting because everybody's kind of not on the right page as far as interpreting the rules and applying the rules during the game. So it's kind of just a give and take. If everything's kind of going smooth, then we're not going to have a lot of meetings. But we definitely have a meeting. Two meetings before the season, a meeting during the season, and a meeting for postseason to kind of get everybody on the same page. But like I said, it's kind of a give or take. If something, if the officials have had a rough couple of weeks, we're going to get together and we're going to talk about what's going on, how we can improve ourselves, and the main thing is what I've done a lot this year and what a lot of our guys do is going back and watching the films. Everything's filmed now. WPRG down there in our area, WYMT up here. You can go back and you can watch the films and you can try to improve on your own, kind of without that assigner getting, getting involved really. So
I'm not going to take up much more of your time, but it's going to lead to my next question. So you have calls like we talked about earlier, the block and a charge call. You also have the Eurostep's becoming more popular now. People are using Eurostep. You see people in the NBA like James Harden use Eurostep. What is it that you have to look at to make sure, okay, they didn't take too many steps, they actually did the correct move there?
Well, funny that you mention it. A lot of people they think that the block charge is the hardest call. To me, it's really the walk. That's really the hardest call because as an official, especially when someone's driving to the basket, I'm looking, if I'm underneath the basket, which will be, lead, I'm looking, is there contact? I'm really not looking at the ball handler's feet. I'm looking for contact. So to me, that's one of the hardest calls to get right is the travel because of I'm looking for a foul a lot of times. Safety really comes first. And, but the walk call is definitely it's a tough one to get. The obvious ones out in the middle of the court that everyone can see. Those are the easy ones. But as far as that goes, I mean, once the offensive player picks up the ball, generally speaking, they get 1-2, and they have to put the ball up. So that's kind of what we're looking for in that aspect. For a walk.
A couple more questions for you. This one, as a ref or a fan, whatever you want to answer this as. How often are you studying the game to make sure that you can be the best ref that you can possibly be?
Well, before the season, we do the rules clinic for the state that they put out every year for each sport that we officiate. I actually ref basketball, but I coach football and baseball. But during the season, every game I try to go back and I try to watch my game online. Hopefully we have several media outlets back in the 15th region. David and Darrell Sports, they do a good job getting out and supporting our athletes and broadcasting the game. So I try to go back and watch every game that I ref because that's really the best practice, to improve. You got to watch yourself, watch what you're doing, what's happening on the floor, how'd I call it today, and trying to be as consistent as possible with myself and my partners to try to do the best job that I can. So really going back and watching the film is the best teacher to improve and get better as an official. Just like players, they go back and they watch, their game film. That's what the officials have to do too. They have to go back. They have to watch their game film. How did I mess up? What do I do? What do I need to do to improve? And I think as long as you do that, and as long as you hustle, and as long as you try to do the best job you can, I mean, the fans and the coaches are going to give you the benefit of the doubt because they really know you're giving them your best effort because you're hustling up the floor. You're in the right spots, and they'll give you the benefit of the doubt most of the time as far as getting the calls right or wrong if they think you're giving them all you got.
Yeah. Last question. We have a lot of young viewers that watch our show. Your advice to young people who may want to get into reffing someday, what is your advice to them?
Well, we definitely need, younger officials. I think the average age of official is probably like in the upper 50s. They talk about it, quite often about recruiting new officials. But the main thing is, if you can get through the first 3 years, they say they've got you as an official. If you can get through those first 3 years, you can't really pay attention. I'm a coach and I'm a fan, of my home school. And when I'm watching that game, I have my Cardinal blinders on, for Martin County. I'm really not, I'm biased, okay?
Yeah.
But when you're official, it's right down the middle. You can't really pay attention to everybody kind of yelling and wanting everything because they're a fan of that team. They want every call, As an official, you just have to try to be as consistent as possible. And I would, to recruit a younger person, I'd say, you can't worry about what's going on outside the court. And it's been easier this year to get distracted because there's less people. You can hear everything going on. So it's been a little bit easier to get distracted this year. But I would tell them just kind of do the best you can and worry about, what's going on the court, not what's going on off the court.
That's great advice, man. I want to say thank you for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good talking. Thank y'all for watching Right on Cue. It's at the break. South Laurel leads Knox Central 30-13. Second half kicks off in 2 minutes. Thank you for watching Right on Cue. I'm Quincy. Take care.